Hey everyone, excuse me for the mishap. We are about to jump right back into Campfire sessions. We're going to let Amy continue answering the questions. Just give me 2 seconds. Hey Amy, we're going to bring you right back on. Sorry for the mishap, Amy. Excuse me. Whoa, hey, Amy. Hey Amy.
Hello. All
Oh, no,
good.
I have
How's
no
life?
idea what happened. I am, excuse me for that.
That's all good.
We're going to wait for everybody else also to get
Yeah.
in, but I would like you to continue. Do you remember exactly where you left off at with your
Yeah.
point?
Yeah. I think I was just saying about, how you can also check your prejudice is, you know, learning to sit with feedback, and learning to sit in that discomfort of, being around people who challenge you on those prejudices. You know, I, I feel like there's a lot of people resisting to sit in that uncomfortability and just own it. I think that can be really helpful as well. And I've really enjoyed, following people or ideas or things on Instagram, for instance, that's not something that
Hmm.
I would usually, have a perspective of. And it's been great because it's been challenging me going, oh my God, like I didn't even realize that I had that unconscious bias. And I'd have to sit in it and kind of reflect in it and like, think about how I can um, change my actions in the future, to be more mindful of that, if that if that makes sense.
Yes,
Uh,
yes,
like,
yes. You said,
yeah,
what
like
was the
no,
last part you said? Hold on, rewind that last part. Excuse me.
yeah, you're right. Uh, sorry, I talk a million miles an hour, so
It's no
I don't
problem.
even know what I said. But I was just saying about, following or, having broadening your surroundings of things that might also challenge your prejudices, and or unconscious bias, so that you can, learn and sit with that discomfort, because, that's the only way that we can really, for me, I feel like you can also, one of the ways that you can, check on that and um, get some feedback on your internal biases and prejudice, so that you can, change and adapt and move forward with your behaviors in the future.
Right, 100%. 100%. Putting yourself in uncomfortable situations that also
Yeah,
have you self reflect
yeah,
simultaneously as to how you're responding to those
yeah,
situations and
yeah,
how you're viewing the people that are around you,
yeah.
whether it
Like
may be
owning it.
bias, prejudice. You
Yeah,
know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Definitely, definitely
yeah.
understand that. What I wanted to also go ahead and be like, excuse me, want to go ahead and ask you is, how can we practice paying it forward?
Yeah. That's a really encouraging question. Um, I think being mindful of, like I said before, of, your family history. And I think that's probably
Mhm.
the therapist side coming out in me. But I personally am really, I really like to explore what my historical influences are, and reflect, okay, well, is that what I want to take with me? Or is that what I want to
Mhm.
kind of leave and change that cycle, so that, when I, have children on my own, that I'm not continuing those prejudices,
Mhm.
and, changing that and expanding. So that's how I feel like I would like to pay it forward. Is I feel like on an individual level, we could do so much, as a collective, if we really, focus on that kind of cycle and pattern.
Pattern. Yes, indeed.
Mm.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And what lessons have we learned as a whole, or either what lessons have you learned during these times where the protest was taking place, and there
Yeah,
was a lot of people fighting out against civil injustice?
yeah. Um, Oh, I don't want to be a negative Nancy, but I really struggle to answer what lessons we have learned, because I think there's so much more, speaking from, I guess, an Australian, that Australia needs to learn. We are
Mm.
very behind, and I don't know if a lot of people realize that. Um, there's still so much to, yeah. I guess, on what have I learned, is there's so much more work that this is, that term woke. I kind of think that it's not a place that you get to and it stops. I think it's a continuing element. And, it's just a reminder and an element for me that, I need to continue with these check-ins, and I need to continue with this work. And I need to continue to be challenged, if that makes sense.
It does.
So I think what I've also learned is, and I think there is a little bit of a common theme here where, I've really learned who has the readiness. Oh, wait. Cool. It just sounds really fun and exciting there wherever you are compared to quiet home.
Yeah, it is. It's cool.
Yeah, nice trees in the background.
People walking by.
Yeah, but I think, I've really learned to be aware of, who really has the capacity to change. There's a lot of people who are not on that readiness to change cycle. So, I don't want to get burnout, which is really common, like activism burnout from, forcing stuff on people who just aren't ready to change. So, I think I've learned what my capacity is and where and when to use it, and what's helpful and what's not helpful, and timing. And learn who to be around people who are also on that same page, and who are, willing to be reflective and have empathy and, explore a little bit more outside of their world. And curious, I think, is a huge element. So I've really learned, what works and what doesn't, and whose readiness to change and who's not, and what my capacity is.
Nice. Yes. That was a really good answer. That was a really good answer. I really did enjoy hearing that. For real.
6 o'clock in the morning here.
yeah. For 6 o'clock in the morning, that was a really good answer. What I'm gonna go ahead and do is we're gonna go ahead and bring on Jason. Jason, are you here with us? Thank you, Amy.
Thank you.
We'll be returning back to you shortly. All right. So here we go. Let us sign off with you. Boom. All right. Boom. Hey, Jason, what's going on? How you doing? Did you hear the 3 questions that everybody was answering?
I believe I did. You may have to repeat them, but so the first one is, how can we check our prejudice?
Right.
I think this is a very difficult answer, or question to answer, I should say, because, it's prejudgments. It's things that have come to you from certain individual experiences over the time of your life and from the education that was, put in front of you. So I really think it comes down to experiencing things for yourself and with others. Like, for example, the more friendships you have, more things you will notice, which will help you check that prejudice, because you can see things in a different light and from different perspectives. So I think it really just comes down to not limiting yourself and just being mindful and aware of other people, and everything else. It sounds so simple, doesn't it?
It does, but you can still see, we wouldn't be having this conversation if it was, So, that's why I wanted to start off with that question for self-reflection. I wanted everybody who came on and people who were listening to have to sit there and look within themselves. You know what I'm saying? Because I think that's what is missing in today's world. So, the second question is, how can we practice paying it forward?
I mean, for me, paying it forward, I think the best thing is to do something you can do directly and have an effect with. For me, it's as simple as my nephew, something like that, and making sure to call him out on something where he's wrong, or to educate him on something that I think he should know. It's things like that. Or, for example, I play games times time online, and I'm playing with a kid the other night, and he wants to, typical online terms like, using anti homosexual terms and anti
Mm.
special education terms, and I just had to call him on it because his friends aren't going to call him on it, right? These are like
Mm.
17-year-old kids playing games on the internet, and nobody's telling them really that what they're saying is wrong and it can affect people. And I mean, I'm a firm believer that words only have the power you give them, but there is a power behind words because people can perceive them in such a light. So
Right.
it's for me, paying it forward is really just what I can do directly within the people I know and the people I come across, to influence them in a positive light, a positive manner, things like that.
100%. 100%. And then last but not least, what lessons have we learned, or if you want to direct the question at you, what lessons have you learned in these times?
I don't know. I mean, I want to say that a big lesson that I've always felt is, unfortunately, everybody always acts out of self-interest.
Mm.
When it comes down to it, when it comes down to the wire, when it comes down to survival. And some of these people are kicking into a survival mindset, like out of fear. It's kind of like when people go to jail and you see them, they go to groups because it's survival, man. And it's something's got to give. I mean, we're in too much of a modern world, and we have too much education at our fingertips and too much in front of our faces to shy away from what's going on and the issues we face moving forward as humanity. As you've seen throughout history, empires crumble, the rich move on. What happened to all the people, right? So do we want us to be that? Do we want the United States or the world to be that? To crumble before our very eyes because of our biases and the fact that we don't want to give other people understanding, or that we don't want to learn and grow with others. I could go so deep into this, man. It's too much. I mean, to sum it all up, everything starts with you. Everything's about your self-awareness. Nobody can make you really do anything. I don't care if they have a gun to your head, you still have a choice. Now, the results of that choice, it is what it is. But at the end of the day, all this starts with education, self-awareness, parenting, all that stuff. Influence from your community, your peers, your elders.
100%.
So hopefully we can all find common ground and have these types of discussions so that people start to learn a little and listen and gain some empathy. Realistically, that's
right. Empathy there's a lot of empathy that's missing, to be honest with you. 100%.
Yeah, unfortunately.
So what we're going to do is thank you, Jason. I appreciate you coming aboard and speaking your words of wisdom. We're going to go ahead and move on to Opta. I'm going to go ahead and take you off right now. This might take a little while, guys. I got to actually see where he's at. Give me 2 seconds as I go. Here we are. I am back. Let us wait and see where he is at. And also let me actually go and get Brianna too. So we're going to go ahead and sorry, excuse me for the interruption, guys. We're going to go ahead and wait for Brandon to get his situation settled on his end, and then we're going to bring him on, and then we'll be featuring Brianna. And then last but not least, I will be doing a short presentation of current events that recently took place and asking everybody an important question following this current event that I will be speaking on. So I hope everybody's doing well, by the way. Thank you for tuning in so far. I've seen that we have a couple of people that were in and out of this live video. Hoping that people will, obviously view this after it is done. Next month, we do have the Unspoken Rules of Society. Please tune in for that the last Sunday of next month. So, and for those who have not heard yet, we did release our online store at www.human.world. We are the first company that I know of in the world that has a .world attached to it, where you could copy and paste our Instagram, plug it into your web browser, and then that's the website right there. So thank you, Amani, for joining us. I will also wave at him, though he was gone. Thank you for the love. I appreciate it, everybody. And thank you for your patience, too. So. Here we are. Let us see. There he is. And we're about to bring him on. Boom. There we go. Great. They say patience is a virtue. So here we are. Giving it a shot, right? What is going on, my man?
Hello.
Hey, yeah, I can hear you way better. Yeah, show everybody the shirt for a second before we start asking, before we start answering. Oh, man, look at that. He is human, too. Amazing. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you. So did you hear the 3 questions that were being asked before, or should I reinstate them?
I think it'll probably help for you to reinstate them. I had them on my laptop, and I was planning on looking at them as I answered the questions and whatnot, but internet and stuff, technology.
Technology is fun. So here we are. The 3 questions is: how can we check our prejudice? How can we practice paying it forward? And what lessons have we learned?
Okay. Well, I think starting with the prejudice is I think the best way really to check your prejudice is to kind of look at yourself. They say like a lot of the times that like judgment of others comes from like a judgment of yourself, or like things you don't like in others is like issues that you need to work on within yourself. And I used to think that was like cliche, but then it's like the more you build yourself and the more you start working on your habits, you realize that that's really true. Like what need do you really have to judge somebody for anything? You know what I'm saying? Like, unless you're not fully comfortable within yourself to not be bothered by this person just being them. So I think the best way to really check your prejudice is to just practice acceptance of others, and just allow other people to be who they are and mind your business. And that's it. Stop like focus more on yourself than you focus on other people, and there would be no prejudice, because you're just to you, a person is just a person, no matter who they are. So there will be nothing to prejudge them about. You don't know anybody. You really don't know anybody but yourself. So what gives you the right to prejudge somebody based on some assumption that you came up with about that person, and then you have an issue with them based on something that you decided that they are. You don't even know this person.
Right.
You don't know anything about this person. So just leave people alone and allow people to be, and there will be no prejudice.
So how can we practice paying it forward?
When you say paying it forward, what exactly is it?
Paying it forward means how can we practice being kind to each other? How can we practice giving without expecting back?
Okay.
Practice just good
Okay.
all around good habits.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that's what you meant, because like I used to work in retail, and that's something people would do. Like they would buy the next person's like groceries or whatever. You know, if they were behind that person or whatnot. You know, things like that. And they'd be like, "Oh, I'm just trying to pay it forward." So I get that. I think it's just doing it. You know, just having an open heart and an open mind, and rather than, and I think it goes back to prejudice. I feel like the opposite of prejudice, like I feel like how to counterbalance prejudice would be through the action of paying things forward, because like you're so loving to others that you want to help people for no reason. Not that you want to look at people and judge who they are, but that no matter who this person is, no matter what this person is going through, you want to help them regardless of that, just because you're a human being and they're a human being, just because that's what we're supposed to do as human beings. Each one teach one. As one person grows, and you should be willing to help other people grow. And it's like if you're truly making progress within yourself as a person, then you'll naturally want that. You'll naturally pay it forward. You'll naturally want to spread that love and want to spread that stability and want to spread that awareness and want to spread that peace with others. So just simple things, having a friendly conversation with somebody that looks like they're down in the dumps, helping out somebody who truly needs it, you know, seeing somebody that you don't really know, you know, and like a homeless person asking you for a couple of dollars, do it. You know,
What is it? Do it.
like you got $40 in your pocket. What's $2? That's not gonna hurt you. But the only reason a person wouldn't support another person in need is through prejudice. You're judging their situation. You're like, why would I give this person my help for them to go and do whatever they're going to do with what I'm giving them? So you're more concerned about what that person is doing with their life than actually paying it forward. You're more concerned with judging somebody and your prejudice over others than actually helping others, you know? So drop the prejudice and just help people just because, you know?
Right. No particular reason. Just because.
Yeah.
And so, what I want to do right now is actually the third question is, what lessons have we learned, or what lessons have you learned during this?
Can y'all hear me? It's a...
Yeah, we can definitely hear you. I can hear you for sure.
Okay.
Your audio is
and,
perfect.
So, could you repeat that? I'm sorry. There's a truck driving by.
No problem. So, what lessons have we learned, right, as a unit concerning the protests and the social injustice taking place that caused the protests? Excuse me. Or what lessons have you learned, right, during those times?
Well, a big lesson that I learned is that the prejudices that this country was founded on, and that this country was built on, and created from, haven't gone anywhere. They were hidden, you know, maybe wearing a mask, but this whole situation is kind of pulled back the curtain on all of that, and it's like, hey, we're still in that same America that calls itself the land of the free but had slaves. You know what I'm saying? Like, it calls itself the land of you know, peace and equal opportunity, but yet you have a disproportional amount of poverty in certain racial groups. And it's like, these things are not just being made up. It's not people just saying that this is happening. It's statistics. You know, it's the government's own stats showing you that these things are going on, yet it's still happening. So I feel like what I've really learned from this is that this is an issue that it has to be nipped in the bud. You know, I feel like in America, there's an ideology of treating things, but not curing. You know, and I feel like I feel like the issues at hand are a root of illnesses. You know, narcissism, racism, prejudice, colorism, like those, I feel like those are mental illnesses because no normal person thinks that way just because, you know, you were taught to think that way. And if you still accept that there's something wrong, like you're not normal, you know? And I feel like what I'm learning is that this is not normal. Like this is not something to just accept and say, okay, we need to kind of work on this. This is something to completely eliminate. How? I don't know, but that's what I've learned, you know. And I've learned that y'all were talking about earlier things becoming popular, you know. I learned that things lose their value when they become mainstream, you know. So a big lesson for me is that if you really want to make a change, don't allow your change to become a concept. Don't allow it to become a gimmick, you know. I saw a post and it was talking about the Black Lives Matter Foundation, and it was talking about the contribution that they've made. And I don't know if this is true or not, but it made me think. You know, it said Black Lives Matter. They've been established for, what is it? I think like 7 years or something like that.
That's
And
about.
you know, they were saying they haven't created any communities for young Black people. They haven't created schools. They haven't done any reforms to education systems. They haven't advocated for reparations. You know, it's like you have this company and you have these protests and you have buses to bring people to these protests. But like, what are you doing outside of the protests? What are you doing outside of the media view? You know, what are you doing outside of what's popular? And I think what I've learned is that once things become a wave, that's when you know it's ruined. You know, so for me, I want to see real changes happen, but I've learned that I have to do it in a real, truly meaningful way, not just going to protests and saying that I'm fighting for the cause, but actually getting involved, you know, actually doing the things that you have to do to make a difference, you know. So that would be for me, like I'm joining or I'm getting my foot in the door with the Delaware State Human Relations Commission. I'm about to join the NAACP on campus at my school. Just working more, getting involved in the behind the scenes things, the things that aren't mainstream, but things that will actually make a difference.
Right, 100%.
So yeah, I guess it's reiterating on that. What I've learned is if you really want to make a difference, you work in silence and you let the product of your actions speak for you rather than trying to get a mainstream audience and using that as a platform to speak. You know, I'd rather be behind the scenes and let my works be my platform rather than looking for a platform to show off my works. I feel like when you're trying to show off to the world, it's not genuine. You know, you're trying to show people that you care rather than actually doing the things that prove that you care.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
That's what I've learned.
I want to say,
you know,
I want to say thank you. It was a beautiful perspective. 100%.
Yeah.
100%. Like, deep words of wisdom. Thank you for taking the time out for sharing your words of wisdom.
I'm sorry. And one thing that I also learned is that we're all human.
Yes, we are. You know, it's an interesting thing because you know, I you know, and I'm just going to be open with the audience by saying, like, you know, I struggle with that thought all the time. You know, because human has the possibility to go mainstream, like really, you know what I'm saying? This is a platform that's designed almost to compete with mainstream institutions. So it's a very interesting thing that you said that. And it's something that I reflect on a lot. Like, what will happen in the days when, you know, it finally does get to where it's going, you know, human has its own life and I'm just a driver of the car. That's about it, you know? So,
I don't know, man. I don't know, man. Maybe that's like making it popular enough to attract almost a mainstream audience, but not letting it become mainstream enough where the media contains it. You know?
Right. It's finding that balance.
It's like catching it at that flashpoint.
We'll see what happens in the future, right? Along for the ride. By the way, guys, if you don't know, Brandon is excuse me, Brandon is and still was and still is my first brand ambassador for HVMAN. Actually, he's not a brand ambassador; he's a human ambassador. We don't do brand ambassador for HVMAN. So, moving along, we are going to have a presentation by Brianna. We will be bringing her up in just a second. Thank you once again, Brandon. I appreciate it. And
Thank you again for having me.
no problem. Please stick around, everybody, for closing remarks. And I'm just going to highlight something before we get off. And yeah, we'll be talking in the future. All right, guys?
For sure.
Peace. Here we are. Boom. All right. Now here we are. Bree, come on aboard there.
Hello.
Hey, how are we doing?
How are you? I'm good.
I'm good. I'm good. All right. So we would like for you to start with the presentation. 100%.
Okay, awesome. So I just got my notes and I just broke it down into increments here. Can y'all hear me? You can hear me well? Or?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, okay, good. So this is just basically like an introduction. I'm just gonna hold my notes here so I can see. So this is just an introduction into business. So for anybody who's been wanting to start their own business, for anybody who's been, wanting to build generational wealth or wanting to basically just leave a legacy for yourself, your children, or just make a little extra money during the pandemic, this is for you. Okay, a little infomercial. Okay, so sorry, I'm silly. So okay, so where to start? Okay, I know I want to, maybe you're thinking to yourself, I know I want to make a business. I know I want to make money. I know I want to create generational wealth. Where do I get started? So you're going to pick an industry, or a niche category, however you want to phrase it. You're going to pick an industry that you are familiar with, you know the most information about. Do not get into construction if you know nothing about construction. Okay?
Right.
So pick an industry that you're in. Once you find that industry, you're going to see what the size of the industry is, meaning how big is the problem that you're trying to solve. If you're going into business strictly for the money, it's not going to work out for you.
Right.
It never does. Take it from somebody who's started 3 businesses. I've had a business fail, so I know from experience, with that. So you want to know what problem you're solving. If you're not selling solutions, I'm going to repeat it again. If solutions, oh yeah, there's a little connection. I'm going to say it one more time for the people in the back. If you're not selling solutions, you are not going to be successful. Okay, so find a problem within that industry that you can solve. Okay. Next, so okay, you know your industry, you know what size it is, it's like maybe a $40 billion industry, it's a $3 million industry, whatever. So you've done your research, and now you want to get your name. So find your business name. So you're gonna go online, you're gonna see if it's already taken first. And you can search, I use GoDaddy, I use Shopify to search domains. So you're going to find your website domain. So why I pair the actual name of the company with the website link is because if your website link is taken, then you're going to be paying a pretty penny for that name that you came up with. So if it's like, for instance, with Darling's Digital Agency, if we went with DDA.com, we would pay hundreds of thousands of dollars for that because it's already been,
Okay, that was quite a surprise.
You know, it's New York for you. Speaking of humans,
That was cool.
yeah, so it leads to the street. Yeah, so you're gonna, when you're choosing your name, you want to also look for your domain to make sure it's available before you solidify your name, before you start printing out business cards and all that stuff. Make sure your domain is available. Okay, and then so moving on to the next, and we're about halfway there, wrapping it up. But choosing how you want your business to be set up. So do you want your business to be set up as doing business as, so meaning opposed to Darling Digital Agency as my name, I would use my personal name, Brianna Darling, as my business. So a lot of people do this for independent contracting. If you're an artist, if you're a gig worker, independent contractor, basically. A lot of people do doing business as, which maybe some people don't even know they're doing business as, but if you fill out a 1099 or a W-9 form, you're doing business as under yourself as an independent contractor. So you're using your social security number. But if you set up your business as an LLC, limited liability, then you can use that tax ID. So say the point of getting an LLC is, so say you get sued, right? Somebody slips and falls in your business. I don't know, something happens. They can't sue you, the person, right? So they wouldn't sue you, the person. They would sue the company. So they can't go after your personal assets, and they can only sue what the company is worth at that time. So that's why we get an LLC, to protect ourselves. But if you want to be an independent contractor, say you're a graphic artist and you're just picking up gigs, freelancing, then you would do a business as, unless you want to become, your own LLC, which you can do as well. But it's up to you. So choose how you want to be set up. If you're starting a business, you don't got to worry about B corporations or all that other stuff. Just stick with either doing, which you can research into more, but stick to this LLC or doing business as, which is DBA. Okay, moving on. So the next step is finding a mentor, finding somebody who has already gone through what you're going through. So say your industry is fashion. You want to make clothing, so you're going to find a mentor, somebody who's in that industry that's successful, that's maybe doing what you want to do. You want to be an apprentice to them or study underneath them or be their protege, as you say, and then just learn from them over time and just give away some of your time to gain that knowledge from them, because it is priceless, especially if they've already been through what you're trying to go through. They can keep you from avoiding a lot of mistakes, which I wish I had a mentor in the beginning. I was kind of just roughing it and toughing it, and then I realized, oh wait, all these mentors are around, so why am I going to break my back when I could just ask the questions and avoid all that problems later on. Speaking of mentors, you as a U.S. citizen have the ability to receive a mentor by the U.S. government. So a mentor in business and a mentor in government contracting, which is the government's marketplace. It's basically like Craigslist for the government. They just take anybody with a business and they're going to give you a contract as long as you can prove that you're about your business, that you're actually working. So how you can find that is you can go to, well, I'll give you the shortcut. So you can go to SBDC, or it will be for all of America because I don't know what state all of you guys are in. So it will be asbdc.com or .gov, .gov. And then for the government contracting, it's APTAC, and I'll write it in the chat. But those two, you're able to pick your state, find your local office, your local business development office. That's what that stands for, Small Business Development Center, SBDC. Find your local center, and then they will assign you a mentor to help you build your business or help you with government contracting. Now, all of them, I'm not going to say they're all wonderful because they're all people as well. but decipher, around, take the information that you need. Feel free to ask some questions and all that because they are supported by the SBA. Okay, final tip. So the last one is focus on your marketing and sales. So how you can do that is through your mission statement. So mission statement is basically a statement, it's a promise that you are giving to your customers, to your clients, like we will give you the best service, or we are one of a kind, we'll price match any offer, whatever your mission statement is. Look at other big companies like Nike, look at Apple's mission statement, things like that, so you can start gaining an understanding of what you stand for. And then once you know who you are, your brand, then you can start marketing. Marketing does not mean sales. I'll let you know, marketing, right, Troy,
Yeah,
marketing does not mean sales. It means you're stirring up the atmosphere, getting people to know who you are. You're introducing yourself. Hey, check us out. That's marketing. Actual sales is, oh yeah, you checked this out. Well, here's this deal. Okay, you got that coupon. Okay, well, here's the, selling lemonade. Here's your lemonade. No problem. So, for example, like we do brand ambassadoring at Darling Digital Agency, indirect and direct. So direct meaning you see brand ambassadors outside passing out flyers. Hey, check out a local restaurant. That's marketing. But for someone to actually take that flyer, walk into the establishment and say, hey, can I use this? Is a sale, right? But yeah, those are just some tips and tricks. You know what I'm saying? I hope I stayed on time. I think that's 10 minutes.
No, you definitely stayed on time.
Oh, okay, cool. But yeah, that's just some tips and tricks to help you with getting started with your own business. I was like, is anybody else behind me?
No, there's nobody else behind me. That was an interesting part of the video. I was like, well.
Oh, oops, sorry. Hold on, my headphones.
I might actually have to take that clip out next time.
Sorry. Okay, sorry. Say it again.
By the way, I do have somebody in the comment section that said, please repeat the website. Please also send me the website so I could also post that in the story that you spoke about it, leading so that people can also, watch these things too.
I was asking about that because I have a document. If anybody wants all this information, I just spewed at you. It's in a document that I have.
I can share the document. Yeah, I can share the document in the story, and I will try to share it in the description also of this campfire session, of this part of the campfire session. All right.
So what do I send it to you?
Huh?
Just send it to you.
Send it to me. Yes.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, you guys get that document, and then the website.
Yeah, put the website in the chat, but then also send that to me too, so then that way I could also announce that also.
Right. Okay, so this is the first one. So the A stands for America, and then S stands for Small Business Development Center. You can just type this in, and then whatever your state, you can go to this one, just go to all of their states. I wish I could just have the link. I don't know if you can click link. Oh yeah.
You have some kids in your background.
What happened?
I said you have some kids in your background.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I can hear you. It's funny. It's a little bit tough to hear you, but what we're gonna do is I'm gonna start winding campfire sessions up. We're about to end it within the next several minutes here. We're gonna do closing remarks from everybody, just get their last say. I'm gonna exit you out right now, but please stay around for the closing remarks. I appreciate that. And here we go. So as I remove her, and here I am back once again. What I wanted to do was I wanted to focus on one issue that I think should really be talked about. I'm not going to elaborate on it too much. What we're going to do is most likely we're going to be presenting this question again in another campfire session. But we did highlight Human of the Week. Human of the Week is we highlight someone who's doing something amazing around the world every single week on Facebook. For those of you who don't follow us on Facebook, it's www.facebook.com/humanworld. So the guy that we decided to highlight for this week was Nick Cannon, surprisingly, right? Nick Cannon was under siege. His career in the media was under siege because he decided to speak out about certain things that was taking place in the world of media and the way that he saw it, especially in ties to the Black community. So one thing that I wanted to say was, for sure, great. I see people in the comments commentating back and forth. I love it. But one thing that I wanted to actually say was, do people think it's fair that he was impacted in such a way where it almost seems like he wasn't allowed to use his freedom of speech as a person that has influence? And I found that to be kind of weird, especially when he touched on the fact that there are Jews who run the media, and the restrictions that he has encountered and how he necessarily felt about those issues. For one thing that I would say is, I want you to sit back and think about this question, because some people would say that he's wrong for what he did about speaking out, and he lost Wildin' Out. He had the deal with him in Viacom was severed, and so when is the proper time to respond to social issues, and when is it time to be silent? I want all of us to think about that. That question, like I said, will be presented again in another Campfire session. But once again, I will repeat it one more time because I think it's very important. When is it the time to respond, and when is it time to be silent? This question will be presented again, to the audience in a Campfire session by the name of Ego is the Enemy. So what we're going to do now is go around to everybody and hear their closing remarks for this Campfire session. I want to sit here and say thank you to everyone who tuned in. Thank you to everyone who agreed to be featured on this Campfire session. Beautiful perspectives were presented here. World of information was also presented here. As we can see in the comments, I hope that there's information that people walk away with from this Campfire session. And excuse my little speech impediments. It takes me a little bit of time. I'm a little bit still nervous as I come on here, as other people are too. So here we go. Without further ado, we're going to be oh, thank you, Bert. I appreciate that. The revelation is now, and the revelation will not be televised. Revolution. All right, there we go. I knew you was aiming for that word. I just wanted to read it verbatim what you wrote, just so I don't get it wrong necessarily. So thank you. And here we go. What we're gonna do is, I see boom boom boom. We're gonna first bring on Brianna once again. So here we are. We're going to end with you. Oh, she's not here right now. So we're going to just go ahead and skip. Jason had to be out. I do know that he said that he had to leave. I'm going to go ahead and bring on Amy right now so that she could say her closing remarks. Here we go. Tess, we'll also be bringing you on. Hopefully we'll also see Opta return. Here we go. Hey, Amy.
Hey. The sun's out now.
The sun is out now. Look at that.
Yeah.
We done talked for 2 hours. Looks beautiful, too, the way it's reflecting off your mirror behind you. That's very cool.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So, your closing remarks, you know what I'm saying?
About what you were just talking about?
Well, that or anything in particular. We just want, everybody to sign off and say goodbye to the audience and the people who will be viewing this afterwards.
Sure. I mean, look, I'm just processing, really. I think that's what I like about this is I'm just kind of reflecting on what everyone else had to say, and how I can add that to myself and incorporate that. I don't know too much about the Nick Cannon story. I have heard about it down under. Oh, it's a little loud there. Sorry.
Yeah, I know. Just go ahead, continue.
Look, I actually don't know. I think sometimes it's okay to say you don't know, but I guess on a personal element is, I have experienced not that, but where I've spoken up about sexual abuse in a workplace as a collective with, quite a few other women, and it was a very similar response. Like it was, we were the issue. And, it really impacted my views on the world. And for a while, it really impacted how I, oh, okay, well, there's no point speaking up, you know, but I think it was just more, you know, I still feel so glad that I spoke up about that because that aligned with my values, regardless of what the outcome was. You know, it wasn't a great outcome for us. You know, we were basically told to leave, or you know, get used to it. And this was a place that presented to be about, you know, well-being and health. So, and this was, you know, when I was so young, so I learned, you know, I learned what not to be like. But you know, that's, I guess, like that's, you know, I think that for me, there's a point, you know, where you're going to have an impact. What, you know, there's going to be an outcome. You know, you have a behavior, there's going to be an outcome. But, you know, if it aligns with your values and your morals, and from what I'm understanding, you know, he's speaking up on what's important for him and what's important for what's going on at the moment, especially in America.
Got a lot of guys, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of vehicles. Excuse me.
So yeah, like I don't really know like what my, like, you know, I don't really know if I have I think I'm just gonna have, like, I'm just kind of processing it, and yeah, I don't know.
Totally understandable. Totally understandable. Is there any last remarks that you would like to say altogether for anybody that you know, for anybody out there? Any words of encouragement? You know,
Yeah.
what makes you, you know, human? You know, or what? Yeah.
Being curious, you know, be curious on yourself, and also, you know, like I just kind of think this element is great of being human. You know, we're vulnerable people who, you know, are going to make mistakes, or you know, and have that self-compassion. I think I talked a little bit about that last time, but you know, embracing that diversity and this whole element, you know, I've really enjoyed what everyone else has had to say. And like I said in my last, you know, solo session of, like, you know, take on advice like perfume, have a little whiff, but don't inhale. And, you know, that helps me to not get consumed in it. So I guess that's why I'm still, you know, processing everything and just taking it in, and what will I kind of, how can I adapt to it? And, you know, thanks for having me on again. You know, that everything does get a little bit overwhelming at the moment, for sure. And I know for me, you know, it's really, okay, well, when I reflect on maybe next year or the year, am I going to be proud of how I've responded to it? And that makes me a little bit more motivated on, you know, specific areas. There's so many areas that we can focus on. So I'm just trying to focus on what's really important for me, and, you know, not get too overwhelmed or into that burnout state, and, you know, work with my capacity.
100%, 100%. I want to say and say thank you, Amy, for coming on board. I appreciate it. It was wonderful having you once again. And like I announced earlier, if y'all missed if y'all in the audience missed the interview between me and Amy, the one-on-one interview that can be found on IGTV, her role will be coming out within the coming week. I'm going to go ahead and switch over to, no problem at all. It seems like a couple of people have left already. So I'm just going to switch over to Tess. She's going to say her closing remarks, and then I'm going to say my closing remarks, and then that'll be it. We'll be done. All right. So see you later, Amy. Catch you. Bye-bye. Oh, seems like Tess must have left. Okay. Give me a second, guys. Well, it seems as if everybody left, you know, which is fine. What we're going to do, what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to end the campfire session with a beautiful message. Hold on, give me a second. Seems like we have, oh, let me bring on Bert real quick, and then we're going to bring on Tess. This is actually our first guest. What do you know?
Whoa, what's going on? I just caught up to the live stream. How are you doing, sir?
No, I am good. I am good. How are you?
I need to pay you a visit, man. You live near downtown. I always see you around.
Yeah, I'm around. I mean, you could always just hit me up if I'm around.
I definitely will.
Yeah, definitely. Do you have my number, Bert? Well, you know what? Text me because I don't want to be unprofessional at the same exact time. So text me text me through Instagram because you definitely have that, and then we'll exchange numbers and move forward from there.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you would like to say before we end this this session in particular?
I would just like to echo the thoughts of your last guest. Just have compassion, as much compassion for your brothers and sisters. You know, look each other in the eyes. Once this pandemic is over and things hopefully return to some kind of normalcy, you know, be accepting of all of your brothers and sisters, black, white, Hispanic, Asian, whatever. Just be mindful of our differences, but also at the same time push out as much compassion to these people. Things are very, like, me and my brother aren't getting along because of our political views. So try to embrace your brothers and sisters of, you know, from everywhere. And yeah, man, just have love in your heart. Look people in the eyes, and you'll see what they're about.
Well, soon we shall be seeing each other face to face. So I'll be more than glad to talk with you, look you in your eyes for sure, Bert. But by the way, if you haven't heard, we recently launched an online store. I just want to let everybody know that the link is inside right here pinned. Please check that out. You know, I'm not gonna say buy something. You know, that's at your own choice that you have. So it's great to have you on board. I'm gonna go ahead and switch over to Tess, and then I'm going to contact you on a one-on-one basis. Reach out to me, like I said, through Messenger. I'm more than glad to speak with you. To be honest with you, Bert,
because I feel your vibe through the video, but I feel your vibes even stronger in person. So
yeah, 100%, 100%.
BLM, baby, with you, you know, 100%. You know, so
100%. So
you can get with Tess for the closing, but I just want to thank you for letting me, you know, speak at all to your, you know, appreciate you.
No, 100. Oh, and by the way, Bert, you be more than I'm definitely going to talk to you because you might have a chance to come on a different campfire session. Like, we could definitely just talk. You know what I'm saying? We'll see what opportunities is out there.
I'll show up with my backpack too. All right.
Oh man, yeah.
I got a lot of camera gear in my backpack, so if you ever want to collaborate on a video or do anything just kind of spontaneous off the whim, we both have our gear. We'll make something happen for sure, for real.
We'll make something happen. Yo, exactly. Yeah, reach out to me. Reach out to me one-on-one for sure. Let me bring Tess on, and then we're done. All right.
Sounds good, bro. Thanks for speaking to me. God bless.
No problem, brother. Bless. Hey, Tess. Oh, Tess, you were just here. Let's see if I get. Oh, she's unable to join right now. We are running low on time, everybody. She is here. Let us bring her on.
Hey.
Hey, Tess. So we're running low on time.
I don't know what keeps happening. Like, yeah, I'm sorry. I don't know what keeps happening.
It's no problem. Just jump right into it.
All right, cool. Last person, close out. All right. Well, I want to say that I really enjoyed this. Like, I wasn't expecting for it to be what it is, but like I definitely enjoyed it. So thank you for having me, and thank you for sharing everybody's perspectives. It was pretty cool.
Thank you.
I enjoyed it.
Thank you, Tess. Yo, you stay young, you stay blessed, you stay beautiful. You know what I'm saying? And even though you were nervous, you did great. You know what I'm saying? You did great. You did. You did. Please be sure, and this is for everybody who tuned in and for everybody who participated. Please be sure to share these videos. They will be available on IGTV. All right, and it will be posted on our Instagram. Actually, I'm posting it right now when I get off. All right. So, thank you, Tess, for coming on board. Thank you for your closing remarks. And like I said, most of all, thank you for your mind and your perspective. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate you too.
All right. Take care. Hey, Herbert. Bye. Hey, Herbert. I'm going to talk to you on a one-on-one also. And here goes my closing remarks. Please, everybody, thank you for tuning in for one. Thank you to all those who participated once again. This program could not exist without you, you know. And I just want everybody to remember, last but not least, that we are all what? We are all human. Signing off, Troy. Have a great night. Bye bye, everyone.